right, everyone. It is Youtinees nomination night. A first for us. We are so ready tonight to celebrate all of our favorite books and comics from the past year. You'll notice there's no books next to me. There usually are, because I don't want to give anything away as to what's being nominated. So we're very excited for that. We got a little news up top. We got the whole gang back together after 1 week of feeling empty for, not the normal reasons. But once again, the man in charge of it all is behind the buttons. So Wes, get ready. Get set. Up. Up. All right, false start on the West. 5-yard penalty, but most importantly, hello, everyone. Welcome to The Living Force, a Youtini Network podcast all about the best content of 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me on this epic nomination ceremony this evening, that'll probably just be good. Let's tamper those expectations down just a bit, is everyone, starting with the man, the myth, the legend, the doctor, the Corey, the Helton.
Hello. Hope everyone is doing well. Building up to the holidays. I'm starting to feel that stress already.
I'm already tired.
Yeah. December is always an insanely busy month for Youtini and us personally, and trying to squeeze it all into this 1 month. Whoever decided that Thanksgiving and Christmas should just be back to back like this, I hate that guy. I don't know who he is.
Absolute
Jackass.
garbage. We don't like you, but we do like Dr. Charles Hanko, who is back from his 1 week sabbatical.
I'm back. I've been spending my December, having a little Christmas shindigs, wearing Grogu Christmas sweaters. So I don't know what you're talking about, Corey. I haven't bought gifts for anybody, but
oh God, we have to
December.
do that soon.
Hey, listen, as Kanye West once said when he was the good Kanye West, my presence is a present. So just that can be your excuse whenever you go to a party without anything. But you know who would never show up to a party empty-handed because he's a god-dang gentleman? Wes Jenkins.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you. I just want to let everybody know that I got this Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser thing in the mail today because they're wanting more of my money that I already give them. I think it's because they noticed that I paid for hotel room and tickets and additional tickets to Star Wars Celebration 2 years in a row, I guess. So they're like, hey, I bet this guy has funds and he wants to take his children on this 2-day excursion. I'm like, oh, do you take dogs? Do dogs come with you? Then maybe.
Oh my God. Because the Galactic Star Cruiser, right? They got the cosplay options that you can have when you get on there. And that's like pretty extensive. You can be a Star Wars character. If they could make the dogs like actual like Loth wolves or something, I'd be like, all right, listen, and like that $2,000 a night.
Count me in.
We'll talk.
$2,000 a night. Oh,
same price for a dog and a child.
And one is a lot less to clean up after. Everyone, though, welcome in to all of you who are and aren't going to go on the Galactic Star Cruiser someday. This, of course, is the Living Force podcast. We talk all about Star Wars books and comics. Please, if you're watching us, go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. If you're listening to your audio podcast, first of all, thank you. If you put us in your Spotify Wrapped this week, we had a few people that were like, oh, Living Force is one of my top podcasts of the year. It was incredible to see. Thank you so much. And thank you also from all the other podcasts you listen to. And if you're not on Spotify, that's cool. Leave us a review wherever you are. Leave some star ratings, some comments. So other people can come and join in the fun where we celebrate all the other Star Wars stuff that's not on your television screens, youths. But before we go any further, I got to give a shout out, y'all. Because last week, our amazing editor, Matt Davenport, was on a well-earned vacation. Not from us specifically. Like, he's not on a vacation because we work him so hard, although maybe. But he was on vacation. So, Wes, dude, you edited the episode last week. And much like when Corey filled in, you had a beautifully unique intro to the audio version. I I'm glad I was not driving when I listened to it because I guffawed with laughter, sir. So well done.
I thought
I was so happy.
Since we're really spoiled here with Matt because
Yes.
whenever he goes on vacation, we have to do maybe like one to I don't know 3 episodes a year we have to edit, and then so we have to make those memorable. And Corey made a damn good one this past like couple months ago, I guess. And so I tried to mimic as much as I could with Matt's, but I knew I needed to throw a soundbite in there that made us all laugh. And it was one of the Cantina Comics episodes, and he took a drink of something he didn't particularly like, and he said, "I don't like that a bit."
It was amazing because that's the drink that I made for our trivia night. And I was like, I do like that, man. So I knew exactly where you pulled it from.
Oh, it was great.
If you don't listen to our audio podcast, if you're on YouTube, hello again. Highly recommend going into your podcast app for last week's episode 140 and listening to Wes's intro, if nothing else. And then you can, go back to looking at our beautiful mugs. One more thing in the intro before we get into our lovely patrons and our news. The Youtini Fantasy Update, as usual, not great for me. I am going to, let's see here. I had one of my best weeks of all time. I had 142 points on the backs of Kyler Murray, who I saw live on Sunday. I went to the game with my dad. But you know who had a better week? Was Timothy Guthrie, who just made sure that even though I was happy, even though he had Joe Mixon, wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter not a bit. So, Tim, love you. Congrats. We'll play Halo again soon. Unkind. You're unkind. Wes, are you, we got our playoffs coming up. Are you in the playoffs? I haven't even looked at the playoff bracket because I'm sad.
I have been looking at the playoff bracket. I can sneak into the playoffs. I am the top 6 teams out of 10 that we have in the league go to the playoffs, and I am number 7. I'm in 7th place right now. I handed Andrew his ass this week because he has all these Alabama players that are out, and he didn't take them out of his roster. So it looked like
he was too busy watching that Alabama-Georgia game.
It looked like I beat him by a lot, but it's just poor management skills on his part. But I could sneak right into 6th place and get into the playoffs. And I just noticed a couple days ago, Eric, that you named the consolidation ladder the toilet bowl. So,
I did not. That's a default. That is
an
app default. They
God,
insult you in that app.
So funny.
So, if you want to go in the toilet bowl, Wes, I will be there to welcome you with open arms because who knows what happened this year. But as we see in our chat, our good pal Emma, who's also in that league, is having a great night watching the show while playing Halo with her somehow the Patriots returned favorite team playing tonight.
Streak, is that what we're talking about?
Yep, number 1 in the AFC, West, and everyone that cares about the NFL. They are the Palpatine they're the Palpatine in the NFL. Absolutely. Easy. Wes, I do have a question for you though before we get off this. Andrew did just come in the chat and asked, do you think that he was trying to be kind to you? Had you considered that?
No. He tries definitely really hard to win every week, and I'm still baffled at the trades that you made. I don't care that you want to get every Alabama player and you thought it was funny. You ruined the league doing that.
And I don't care that I thought I just had him and did way worse. But you know who did way better? Is our Patreon community. Hi, everyone. We love you. Thank you so much for your support. We've had a lot of annual patrons. We just got a new one this week. Our very own Adam Dyson jumped back on the annual patron train. Thank you so much, buddy. Welcome back.
Hey, listen, I even direct messaged Adam to make sure that wasn't a mistake, just so we're clear.
Yes, because he is on the team.
I was like, hey, man, you're on the team. Are you sure you're giving us money? He's like, absolutely, man. I love this community. And I'm just like, that is always incredibly honoring to me. So, appreciate it, Adam. Thanks, man.
It's so sweet, dude. We love you. We have had some patrons that had an annual membership that decided to either put some more money towards Christmas stuff or do other things with your time and money, which is legit. So we are slightly farther away from our Revenge of the Sith commentary than we were before, which frankly, considering we still have to do Rogue One, is okay. Selfishly. But if you want to boost us right back up, head over to youtini.com/Patreon or patreon.com/Youtini to get all of our extra shows, to get a little bit of something extra that we'll tease you about later, and of course, mainly just to support this community. We have an incredible Patreon community that has honestly allowed us to do way more this year than we ever thought. And it is all people that just want to support the things we do out of love. And we love you guys right back. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Rogue One is coming soon. And of course, if you ever want to have ideas about what you want to see in Patreon, you can contact Timothy Guthrie, the fantasy asshole, and also our Patreon manager. And he will be able to tell you anything you need to do to make the Living Forest. And all of you, Teeny, the Cosmic Forest, Legends Look Back, all the extra shows, everything you want it to be in the future. All right, speaking of the future, we got some announcements this week. Let's go to the weekly roundup.
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
One of the awards we're going to be talking about later on in the show is the cover of the year. We love covers here at Youtini. And this week, this morning actually, a bunch of us got to order a new cover because we got a bunch of covers for the High Republic that were announced this past week. First up is maybe already the cover of the year 2022. It's not really fair. The Fallen Star, Claudia Gray's novel, got this jaw-dropping cover from Out of Print. It is
very good.
Yeah, Corey, you had an especially intense reaction to this cover.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's just epic. Something about silhouettes, man. I just love silhouettes. I mean, look at the Youtini website. Everything is silhouettes.
That is the most Youtini cover. That's what it is.
It really is. It really is. I don't know. It's just, this is right after the cover that we showed last week, for Brotherhood that we were not particularly exceptionally excited about. So to get this right after that, it's just like, holy smokes. Now this is a special edition cover too as well, right?
Yes, so this is on outofprint.com. They've done previous covers for Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm. The same artist came back to do this. And if you're on audio and haven't seen this yet, the cover essentially shows 7 Jedi, or we assume 7 figures. One has a lightsaber on a hillside watching the Starlight Beacon in flames cascade into a body of water with a bunch of meteors. So my first thought, other than wow, this is gorgeous, was if they're showing us this event on the cover of the book, this is not the big event of the book, which is horrifying.
Really?
Yeah.
My first thought is who's still on there?
Yeah, that was also my thought too.
Are there more than 7 Jedi left?
They all have their hoods up. You can't tell.
That one guy's got his lightsaber out too. Like, what's up with that? I don't know.
So there's a blue lightsaber. So
it's almost like a sad binary sunset.
It is.
Oh,
it is.
Wow. Yeah, man. Also, I'm not going to be this guy, but I do not see Ember on that cover. We'll see.
Stop,
Again,
stop
artistic renderings. We'll see what happens. But luckily, if you love this cover as much as we do, there are still bundles available on outofprint.com. Go over there, search for the High Republic, and the bundle is $50 because it comes with this hardcover it's signed by Claudia Gray, and you get a hat. It comes with
Not
a
just
winter
a hat. A beanie, okay?
A beanie winter hat.
At the risk of sounding vain, I'm kind of the beanie guy around here, and I'm really stoked about this. Okay, I'm more excited than about the tote bag, and more excited than the socks. Those were great, but I'm digging this beanie.
Oh yeah, Chicago got into the 20s this week, so I am very excited for another winter hat. And Endar says in the chat, got all your hardcover pre-orders in. Thank you for putting them into the description. Yes, as Wes said, all the links to the pre-orders are in the description down below. Another side note on the Fallen Star, we did get our first excerpt this morning on StarWars.com. It was a big Monday for the Fallen Star, so head over there, check it out. We also have an article on Youtini.com where our very own McDowell wrote up about the excerpt. It's hopeful. Which is also scary in a weird way, because that's what this initiative has done to us. But guys, Out of Print was not done with the Fallen Star. That was not the only thing we got announced. We got the 3rd Thrawn Ascendancy Deluxe Edition revealed. We got the most My Chemical Thrawn-mance cover I have ever seen. Look at our beautiful emo boy.
Did you just come up with that on the spot, Eric?
I did, actually.
That is...
He's headed to the Black Parade for sure.
He is. Listen, I've been listening to the audiobook. Wes, I know you've been listening to it also, right?
Yes,
How much do you have left?
I have
a lot.
Yeah. The phone says I have about 14 hours left, but
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I think I have about 4 or 5 hours left. The audiobook is insanely long. It's like 23 hours long, which is crazy that we have somehow found time to listen to this like during our commutes is insane. I was thinking about this yesterday when we were like looking at our show notes, planning to show this image tonight. I have not ever pictured a chest that looks like this in my mind. Not a single time. Not a single friggin' time. Like, this is Thrawn. No wonder the aristocrat hate him. That's all I have to say.
That's it. Luckily enough, though, folks, they also knew exactly what they were doing because there is a back to this cover, which we didn't put in this image, which is Thrawn bound in handcuffs on the back, and that got to the weird side of Twitter. So bless y'all, but calm down. I will say though, this so this is the third Thrawn Ascendancy Deluxe Edition from out of print. The first two are long sold out. The first one goes for over $1,000 on eBay because everyone forgot to get it. But if you want this third one, it goes up April 26th. So you got some time. Make sure you set an alarm. And as we're saying in the chat right now, you got to go into the Youtini Discord in the Lesser Evil channel. Whenever there is an exclusive cover drop, the channel of the book is on it. Our Discord is super good about letting people know when it's available. We're not bots. We're not resellers. We just want to get these covers because they look awesome. So be sure to check that out. Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil, April 26th. And a quick reminder that the Roundtable starts a week from tonight. So if you have the regular version of the book, you have one more week to finish up what is officially the longest book in Star Wars canon.
Or start.
Or start. You know, I don't know what your week's like.
Start.
Hey, man, Halo's coming out on Wednesday. You got it. We got stuff to do.
It's very good, too, I do have to
very
say.
Yes.
I think it's going to be safe to say that I think we gave it really high reviews on the site, so like,
Yes.
I've really enjoyed it. You know, I'm a sucker for Thrawn, and it concludes the story very nicely. So if you haven't started it yet, then absolutely. If you've never read a Thrawn book, somebody emailed me last week actually and asked me, I've been thinking about reading the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, but I've never read a Thrawn book. Should I read this first? I think you could. I think you could read the Thrawn
Chaos
Ascendancy
Rising.
trilogy fine.
Yeah.
I think
Read
you
the
can start with
first
that,
one.
no problem. Yeah, start with the first one for sure. But yeah.
I completely agree. And now, if you look at this image, you will know Thrawn is hot. And maybe that helps you out as you read. I don't know. 2 more cover reveals we got this week. Big week for covers. We found out that the Fallen Star will not only have its out-of-print gorgeous cover, but it will also have a Target exclusive cover. Target's getting a lot of exclusives lately, which will just be this beautiful wraparound image of Starlight Beacon. We do not have a date for when this is going up yet, but it will be available at Target only. I've been going to Target a lot lately, and I have seen there's Rising Storm is still on the shelves. They really do well putting out their Star Wars books, but the exclusive covers I do not see anymore. So make sure you get those pre-orders in when they're announced. And currently available on pre-order, Midnight Horizon, the young adult novel from Daniel Jose Older, which is coming out in February, has a Walmart exclusive cover that shows 3 of our wonderful protagonists, Reith Silas, Zine, and oh my gosh, I forgot our dude with the yellow lightsaber, our mechanic guy. Yell at me in the chat. It's a cool cover, but the problem is the Midnight Horizon regular cover with Comac and Reith is so good that I mean, this is good. It's a good cover. It's a very good cover.
Yeah, you know, this image specifically also highlights one giant issue with Walmart and Target covers. They put these damn stickers right on the outside.
Stop it with the stickers.
I know. And this one, it's so funny that the promo image looks like it's got a freaking Walmart sticker on it. Like,
I'll let you know. It's
just
crazy.
Hey, just so you know, we're gonna ruin the cover with the flipping sticker. So I don't know why they do this crap, but whatever.
They could just put the Walmart logo somewhere in like the bottom corner and it'd be perfect. They wouldn't have to like actually put this white sticker on there, right?
Costs too much.
But if you need to get stickers off and they don't come off, hair dryer, use heat. And Emma, thank you. Ram Jamaram, that's our guy. So make sure you get that. Pre-orders are available now. That's right. Thank you very much. And again, pre-order links are in the doobly-doo down below. So the next book's coming out less than a month now. Less than a month till the High Republic comes back with Fallen Star and Mission to Disaster. Go to youtini.com. Go to our new releases site. Get all your pre-orders in again before the holidays because there is still a supply chain issue. So make sure if you want the book, you gotta hit the pre-order. And thank you. I haven't said this in a while. Thank you to all of our people on our team that help us out to keep those new releases, to keep the timeline up to date. Every time a book is announced officially through DelRey or StarWars.com, it is on the Youtini timeline within the day. as as accurate as we can get based on description, and it is on the new release calendar with an updated cover. So you can always guarantee we got you covered,
Yes.
if you will. All right, I'm going to take a break from that pun. We are going to do a quick ad break to show you all the great things about Youtini.gifts as you're doing your holiday shopping, and then we will be back with the 2021 Youtini nomination ceremony. All right. Well, those of you on audio will hear that ad. Those of you on video, go to Youtini.gifts with GIFTS. Again, we have curated lists for all your holiday shopping needs. And I guess I was remiss to say, happy Hanukkah to all our Jewish friends. It's happening right now. It is way earlier than Christmas. It's more days than Christmas. And a buddy of mine who's Jewish made a great point recently. How come we have made like the 25 days of Christmas when Hanukkah is actually more days? So anyway, happy Hanukkah. Hope you're enjoying. And for all your holiday shopping, Youtini.gifts. All right. Now, for what we're actually here for tonight, we are so excited to present for the second year at the end of this month the Youtini Awards. Now, guys, let's first, for anyone that wasn't around last year, which is fine, we've grown a lot this year, what are the Youtini Awards? How would we describe them in like a one-sentence pitch?
I don't know. It's like an award show to celebrate, the success that we've had in the past year in regards to Star Wars books. I mean, I feel like we talked about this last week, I think. Maybe it was when we had Steven on. We talked about how, the authors are often relatively humble, quiet people, right?
Mm-hmm.
There a lot of them are pretty active on Twitter and stuff, but they don't get the celebrity status that, Daisy Ridley and John Boyega get, right? So, but they're certainly appreciated by millions of people, right? So we came up with the idea to put together kind of an award show to both honor the creators as well as highlight just some of our favorite Star Wars content that was created in the past year. And we invented it last year and we've tried to push the limit with it this year. So I'm really excited about some of the major changes that we've made this year, and it's going to be, we have a couple surprises. I think they're going to be well received.
I think so.
Yes, sir.
It's more geared towards like canon, I guess.
That's
canon
true.
and loose canon. And like Corey had said, it's for the expanded universe, the literature, the comics, the books, even like the comic illustrations from the past year. So the full year, everything in 2021, nothing from a year prior or the years prior. So that's how we kind of break up the categories.
But it's also it's an excuse for us to dress up to the nines. Okay, like this is not
Let's be clear.
This is not like a normal episode of The Living Force where we're all in t-shirts. Okay, I'm talking we're in suits. Like there's different graphics. Like it is as close as we are capable of getting to like the Oscars. So if you are curious and you cannot wait until our event this year, you can go back on YouTube. You can find last year's. It'll give you an idea of what to expect. But this year's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, Charles. It is our Oscars. And I'm sure if it's not there already, because I'm a bad person without YouTube up, by the end of the show, we will have the link to last year's show in the description of the YouTube channel. And if you're not a usual visual watcher, as opposed to an audio watcher. If you usually do it on audio instead of video, it is a great time to tune into the show and really see the event. It will be, before we go any further, it will be Monday, December 27th this year. Again, tonight we'll be listening to the nominees like the Oscars do, and then on the night we will have bombastic entertainment, and we will be handing out the awards, which are not. They won't be here, but we will be announcing who gets it and how we decide those awards. We'll talk about in just a little bit. But these nominations we're about to tell you have been chosen by the Youtinees staff because, honestly, if you think back to 2020, a lot of things came out this year, and you may think that Light of the Jedi started in 2019 or 2020. It did not. It was 2021. That was this year, guys. The High Republic started this year.
So many,
Which is wild.
Releases.
Which is wild.
I was working with a med student today, and he asked me how many Star Wars books came out in 2021, and I was like, I don't know, like 50. That's what it felt like.
Like 1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, like so many amazing things happened, and we wanted to be sure that before we, opened up the voting, which we're gonna do this year, we wanted to, narrow it down so you don't get, 80,000 choices. So we had an exhaustive nomination process within our team, and we came up with the following categories. And you know what? With no more ado, we're going to go through each category. We're going to list up who is nominated, and then we'll talk about them for a little bit. We'll say if we've read them, if not, we'll kind of give you a little bit of background so that you can be, you can go out and read them before the actual show. And that's where we'll go. So without any other monologuing by me, let's hit the background music. And Corey, take us away with our first nomination of the 2021 Youtinees Awards.
Yes, let's do it. Oh, I love it. I was like, what the heck am I hearing right now?
You got this.
It came in my headphones funny. All right, the first category that we want to announce for the 2021 Youtinees Awards is the Comic of the Year. And we have 4 comics that were nominated. We didn't really talk about the process in great detail, but the staff really dived in and picked our top categories, right? So the 4 that we have for the 2021 Comic of the Year are the War of the Bounty Hunter series, the High Republic series, the High Republic Adventures, and the Darth Vader comic. This is the second run of the Darth Vader comic, obviously not the 2020 run. This is the 2020 run, not the 2015
Yep, 2020 run. Greg Pak. Yeah. So this was a cool category because I love that we have event series, War of the Bounty Hunters. We have two ongoing series with the High Republic and Darth Vader, and then we have an all ages ongoing series with the High Republic Adventures. So Star Wars is really all over the place this year, as our friends in the Cosmic Force have said. And guys, I know that we don't do all the comics. I do, but not everyone reads all the comics. How many of these have you guys read? I gotta ask. And what'd you think?
I have personally read everything except for the War of the Bounty Hunter series. I was kind of waiting. I'm actually going to wait for the graphic novel to pick that up, like the whole series in the graphic novel format, because it's jumped around a lot. Actually, we get a lot of questions about that kind of regularly, just what the correct reading order is. And I think I'm pretty sure we have a guide on that now on the site.
Wes has it in the
So
background
I have
there.
War of the Bounty Hunters. That is the only one that I currently own. I have not read it yet.
All right, fair enough.
And I took myself out of the running for voting for that too, so I didn't just throw one up because of the cover or anything.
Yeah.
Man, not only is he a golden god, ladies and gentlemen, he has integrity. He has integrity.
That's also something that we push pretty hard on the team too, is that you're only allowed to vote. You can't vote just on hype. You have to vote on things that you've actually participated in and read and that sort of thing. And we have a pretty big participation. So
absolutely. Charles, how about you?
Yeah. I have read the High Republic series and I have read War of the Bounty Hunters. I have not read the other 2. I've read the old Darth Vader series, but not this new one. And man, I don't know that there's been as much stir for a comic event of any kind as there was for War of the Bounty Hunters. Like in our Discord, it blew up over that. So, I mean, not trying to influence anyone's votes here, but that one really blew me away of the ones that I've read.
That's right. The influencing voting and really doing the illegal lobbying, that's the 3rd annual Youtinees. We don't have that yet this year. We'll make it like a real award ceremony next year.
Right. And this is only the opinions of 4 of us too, right? There are 30 people on the team at Youtini, and a lot of folks go into this. So, let us influence all you will, but
exactly.
What can you do?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, so Okander says in the chat, are we allowed to put down our personal faves? Absolutely. This is a celebration. Sure. This is not a hush hush, like hide your vote kind of deal. This is a celebration, and these are the ones that we came up with. I have read all 4. I really enjoyed all 4. My biggest surprise, I will say, so I don't say necessarily when I'm voting for in the final one, but the High Republic Adventures is one that I'm so glad has gotten so many people into all ages comics, because I feel like they've thought it's for kids, it's for young stuff, but the art, the storytelling in that this year really kind of opened a lot of people's minds, so it definitely belongs in there. An excellent category to get us started. Charles, what's our next one?
Yes, so the next category for the 2021 Youtinees is the Best Expanded Universe Character. So we got a few different nominations here. First up is Bel Zettifar. Great new character. Also love his dog.
Exactly.
After that, Stellan Gios. My guy, Stellan Gios.
Yeah,
a lot of
High Republic Obi-Wan.
In this particular picture, it looks like a photograph that was taken.
It looks like Cal Katarn.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It looks just like Cal Katarn from the old games. Yeah.
That's the
looks
Mike
like a
Mayhew
trailer
cover
for an upcoming video game, High Republic video game, please. Next, we have Elzar Mann, and that's the shot of him from this was the Target exclusive of Rising Storm,
Yes.
I think.
Also Tom Hanks, if you will, played by Tom Hanks,
or Tom.
Yeah,
Hanks.
at age like 20, like that.
And then lastly, we have Erica Quell from Victory's Prize, from the whole Alphabet Squadron series. So with the year we had, I mean, some heavy representation from the High Republic with Bel, Stellan, Elzar, but we had to have some other representation here, and Erica Quell was kind of a no-brainer from that Alphabet Squadron series.
Yeah, I do have to say that the selecting best characters from the High Republic in general was really hard.
Yeah.
This is not an easy decision.
Our Discord has had brackets about this for months. Like, there's in our High Republic channel, they've literally had voting about best High Republic characters, and then we had to sit down and say because best High Republic character could have been its own award, honestly, because they all got made this year. But what an incredible list. And I also think it goes to say, I think last year, Dr. Afro was our character of the year, if I remember correctly. And this year, it's also very exciting because, we get all these High Republic characters, but we also have half characters of color, which I think is great and just shows where Star Wars is going. Like, that's what you get. That's who's actually in the categories. Beautiful characters that are showing up in a bunch of stuff. And Bel was actually in the Fallen Star excerpt this morning. So if you want a little more of him, again, not vote swaying, but Charles was right. He does have a really great dog. So maybe if that pushes you one way or the other. But of course, you can't sleep on Erica Quell because, y'all, I'll be honest. Until we did the Youtinees, I forgot Victory's Price wasn't 2020.
Yeah, I just can't believe that. I don't even want to. It's crazy.
It was wild.
I have a toss-up right now. I'm going to admit it. Toss-up between Bel Zettifar and Erica Quell. I'm iffy on him. I mean, and I also, one of the, now that these 4 nominees are here, who was the antagonist in Victory's Price that I chose that wasn't actually selected?
Soren Keys.
Soren Keys was not selected as one of the best EU characters. Thanks a lot, other Youtini members.
Neither was Markian Rowe. I mean, listen, we had to narrow this down. And it's a good thing that it was as hard as it was, because that tells you the material we got this year really was that good.
Absolutely. All right. Our next category it's our cover of the year. Speaking of great art, we talked about this earlier about 2022 covers, but 2021 was no stranger to just jaw-dropping design. We have first the cover to Star Wars Victory's Price with my boy Will Lark in his A-wing on the cover there in glorious blue and gold. We have and his beard. Bearded Will. We all remember that moment. We have the cover that started the High Republic, Light of the Jedi, the original Light of the Jedi cover with Avar Kriss at the front, flanked by Elzar Mann, Burryaga, and Loden Greatstorm. we have Star Wars Ronin, one of the just most unique books, covers, art styles, and physically, the physical cover was so unique. We have the Ronin himself with his red blade in that beautiful art style. And we have the out-of-print variant of the Rising Storm, which shows EU Character of the Year nominee Stellan Gios dual-wielding lightsabers, spinning one in front of him as there are sandballs flying with Jedi atop them in the background. And of course, the lovely little lion kitties flanking him. These four, I think this is why, not to make it negative for a second, why some covers that don't quite hit these heights disappoint us, because this is what we get now.
That's right.
Look at these. They're all so different.
That's right. I mean, honestly, like the cover art this year has been unbelievably good, and the High Republic too has been. We've gotten so much varied artwork amongst everything, but it all like fits together really nicely. So,
yeah,
it's been awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, with all the different covers that we're having to buy, we also had to make sure we could narrow it down, because even if you only have 4 books, you probably have about 16 covers to deal with. So, bless everyone for making us buy these, but the artists, just a huge shout out to just their work in creating the visual language of the Star Wars universe, because that's hard to do in books.
Yeah. In light of the Jedi, really... Go ahead, Charles.
I was just saying, I'm interested to really see who wins this, because they really are so different. And it's what do you personally like is what you could go for. Like, if you like the super unique stuff, like Ronin's and Rising Storm are probably more unique. But if you think of like the whole series, that Alphabet Squadron series, those covers were so cohesive.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of different ways this could go.
It was artistic. I mean, Andrew just got a tattoo inspired by this cover, right?
Yeah,
So
check him out on Legends Look Back last week. He was a guest and he showed it off. It was gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous, Wesley, what do we have next?
It is the moment of the year.
The moment of the year.
So
Big award. Big award.
Moment of the year. We picked certain scenes, specific scenes that were made a big breaking point within the book. So our first 2021 Moment of the Year nominee is from Star Wars Victory's Price, and that's Erica Quell having a breakthrough with an imagined version of ITO. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that?
Oh,
scene?
do I?
Psychologically wrecked me.
Oh my god, that
absolutely
was
wrecked me.
I read it twice when I first, because I was like, this isn't actually happening, is it? I was like, I couldn't understand it at first, so I read it back to back, and then I was like, okay, I mean, it makes a lot more sense. This was before I was listening to the audiobook and reading the book at the same time. I was just reading it. But yeah, amazing moment. Next Moment of the Year nominee is from Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. It's Avar Kriss announcing the Jedi arrival at Hetzel Prime. Probably one of the best moments that made your heart flutter, I guess.
Yeah.
Whenever she announces that the Jedi are here. I forgot the exact words, but
I brought up the scripture, page 30 in your hymnals, Light of the Jedi. It says, a woman's voice, just a few words, but they brought with them, yes, the one thing they needed most at that moment. This is Jedi Master Avar Kriss. Help is on the way. That one thing, hope.
yes.
Ba-da-da!
The hero of Hetzel herself.
yeah.
And then the last nominee for Moment of the Year is from The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Elzar Mann throwing a lightsaber from the back of a dragon. That's going to be a tough one, boys, because that is one of the best moments that you're like, wait a second. We've seen the lightsaber throw. We've seen it in video games. We've seen it in books. But have we seen it from the back of a dragon?
I'm going to say that's one of the greatest moments of my life when I read that. I'm sorry, if I'm swaying the vote here.
I freaked out so much when that happened.
That is the moment I remember in my life. So there were other moments this year that were big, but we did try not to do giant spoilers, because there's obviously a moment at the end of Rising Storm that could have been nominated, but if anyone hasn't read it, we don't want them to just get that spoiled by a Youtinees nomination. However, that moment when Elzar Mann threw a lightsaber on the back of a dragon, I messed up. That's the one moment where I'm like, I love getting these advanced review copies of books, but I couldn't talk to anyone about that moment for a month. And I was like, guys, do you know what happened? Of course you don't. So, but yeah, a year full of just kind of saga changing moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, they were just sitting around that High Republic think tank table and they were like, name some cool stuff. Just throw some cool stuff out there. They're like,
Yeah.
lightsaber throw. Yes, Bill. Thank you. Someone else in the back is just like, dragons? They're like, all right. I didn't see where you're going there. And then one third guy's just like, lightsaber throws on dragons. And they're like, that's it.
And it's like meeting adjourned. Lunch.
Yep. I'll tell you how that went. It was definitely Kevin Scott said lightsaber throw, and then Daniel Jose Older was like dragon, and then Justina Ireland was like both. That's my guess. That's my guess.
That's pretty good replay of what happened.
Yeah. But like you said, Corey, earlier, and like you guys were saying earlier, like these three moments really do have kind of the scope of 2021 in Star Wars. Like that ITO moment is really the psychological like horror in a weird way of Star Wars. Like we get to see really dark depths, and 2021 was a really hard year for a lot of folks. And like Erica going through that and getting those psychological breakthroughs, I was like really impactful and really hard. But at the same time, what did we all want this year, especially, you know, in the beginning of the year coming out of 2020, was the Jedi. We wanted Hetzal Prime. We needed a little bit of hope. And then you just want something that's just the coolest thing you've ever read in your life. So it's a nice little balance of what the year was, you know, in a metatextual way. Totally intentional, by the way. Right? Yeah. Ugh. Love that. But of course, moments are nothing without the words that are written about them. Corey, what do we got next?
The next category that we have for the 2021 Youtinees Awards is the quote of the year. And we have a couple of them here. This first one is from Rising Storm by Kevin Scott. And the quote is, Elzar Mann was riding a dragon into the middle of a dogfight. Because who else would it be? There's the moment right there. Also made it for quote of the year. There you go.
Yeah, that's like when you have best actor and best director in the same category and they both win. That's what that would be. We'll see.
Exactly. The next one we have for quote of the year is from Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good. And this quote is, the odds are never impossible, Thrawn said calmly, merely unfavorable. Very good.
Always a chance.
So should you tell him the odds? Star Wars!
Never tell me the odds. Get out. Get out. All right, the next one we have for quote of the year is from Victory's Price. And this quote is from Hera Syndulla. And she said, only rebellions are built on hope. Republics need sturdier foundations.
No
Love
wiser words have ever been said.
You know what that is? That's coming out of college and going into like your first job.
That's right.
It's like, ugh, we actually need foundations of something.
That's right.
Only
That's right.
degrees are built on all-nighters. Jobs require sturdier
foundations.
habits.
I love it.
Let me just run back through these so everybody can get a good glimpse.
Oh yeah, without our commentary here.
All right, so we have Elzar Mann was riding a dragon into the middle of a dogfight because who else would it be? We have the odds are never impossible, Thrawn said calmly, merely unfavorable. And then only rebellions are built on hope. Republics need sturdier foundations from Hera Syndulla in Victory's Price.
All great.
And those were voted on by the Youtini team. And I'm rather surprised that one didn't get picked, but I don't know that I should say which one shouldn't have got picked.
Well, you
Maybe
got it now.
You have to say it. I
You
mean, it's
got
too
it.
late.
Spoilerific. It was the quote from Markion Rowe that asked,
I know.
hey, you forgot your hand.
God, your hand. I voted for it. I did. It was
also voted for
that. Kasev, you forgot your hand.
Got your hand.
Great. And also, while we're there, we haven't said this yet, and this is absolutely our bad at the top of this. Huge shout out to our team member, Andrew Bell, who is the Youtinees is kind of his baby, who put this all together. who's been coordinating this from the top. And
all year, by the way,
all
since
year,
like
yeah.
January
All
1
year.
of last year, we've
Since
been
the last ones.
yeah, every couple weeks he pops in. Hey, don't forget about those nominees while you're reading. You got to drop in quotes, things like that. Which
Yep.
I would have absolutely forgotten to do all that if Andrew had not done it. So strong
Super
work,
shout
man.
out.
Strong
And of
work.
course, if you're watching us on video or if you're on our social media later this week, a huge shout out to our newest team member, Steven Smith, who made all of these graphics based on the nominations and is going to be kind of heading the social surge, not the purge, of voting that we're going to have. Because now I do want to announce that so the quotes are a lot, and if you're listening, you might forget some of them, but have no fear, because you are going to be voting on them after this show. We're going to be putting a page live at youtini.com/awards. We're going to have the link in the doobly-doo. We're going to be tweeting it out. You, the audience, will be able to vote on these, and you will affect the outcomes of the Youtini Awards for the first time ever, so keep your eyes peeled there. Beautiful quotes, but of course, beautiful quotes have to be written by beautiful people. And those beautiful people sometimes like to share beautiful moments with their beautiful audience, which makes them what, Charles?
The 2021 Youtinees Social Butterflies.
That's
Now,
right.
this award, it's not as intuitive, right, as the other awards. What is a social butterfly? These go to the creators who do a fantastic job interacting with the fan base, because it's always really cool to kind of get a peek into these creators' lives. Like when we get to do these interviews on the show, there's some incredible moments. But if you follow them on social media, you get a lot of those same moments too. And it's a great chance for them to interact with you if you have kind of no other avenues to do that, no other ways to thank them for the work that they do. So without further ado, the nominees are Ario and Indito, Emma Mieko Candon, Daniel Jose Older, and Charles Soule. And all of these people are great follows. We have their handles kind of down there beneath their pictures if you're watching this live. So if you don't follow them already and maybe you want to weigh in on this, go follow them, see what kind of stuff they get up to on their social medias. But all these people are really interactive, really just genuinely nice people. And that is reflected in how they interact with everyone in the fan base.
Yeah, last year Kevin Scott received this award because he's also he's ineligible this year, but kind of like set the bar for how to just interact with fans, and it's hard sometimes. I mean, authors and writers and artists are all just people, and it can be hard sometimes to talk to the Star Wars community, but they all do such a great job, and they're all different. Like Ario is so appreciative of people that love his art. Emma is loving people about Ronin, but also has incredibly great threads about creation, about like really in-depth topics. Daniel Jose Older is like fighting for social justice and is also hilarious and is also a new dad. So all of that on a single thread is wild. And then Charles Soule is always just a hair away from revealing what's going to happen next in the High Republic. he is a master.
That's certainly how it feels.
At
Yeah.
it. It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's really
I like
great.
too that there's an artist in this lineup, right? Like
Yes.
it was intentional this year to try to have better representation of comics. Obviously, that was a point of emphasis for Youtini as a company, was to really dive more into comics. Obviously, the Cosmic Force was a big part of that. And it feels cool to be at the point where we're familiar with these artists enough that we're following them on social media. Like we're able to nominate them for these awards because we're trying to, I don't know, dive more into that, give it more exposure, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And now, just like the Oscars, you got to end with the big boy. The book of the year. Before we talk about the nominees, though, this was such a hard process. So many Star Wars books came out, like Corey said, roughly 50 or in 2021. And it was so hard to just, take four and say, all right, here's what we think represents Star Wars the best. We talked about
Because we had 50 books this year.
we had 50 books this year, yeah. So we had to figure out, how do we make sure that it's objective, and we had a voting system that incorporated how many books people have read and So you got weighted differently, and we really tried to make it as fair as possible. And at the end of the day, we loved so many books. And again, if you don't know how much we loved them, go back, watch our roundtables, read our reviews. They don't all make it in here that we love. But the 4 books for Youtinees 2021 Book of the Year are Star Wars Victory's Price by Alexander Freed. Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil by Timothy Zahn. A little spoiler for our roundtable next week. And Star Wars The High Republic The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Again, we have 2 ends of the spectrum. 2 of these books end trilogies, and 2 of these books begin a new initiative. Which is, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I mean, I was surprised by both Victory's Price and Lesser Evil in this list. Not because they're not phenomenal, because they really are. But Lesser Evil won because we haven't done a roundtable yet. That's crazy that that this book that came out literally like a couple weeks ago is even considerable for Book of the Year. Victory's Price is just on such a different level than the other books that are on this list.
It's totally different, but man, it is kind of like voting for that series, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it is. I mean, I think anytime you vote for a final book in a trilogy, you're essentially voting for the series in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got the weight of all the first 2 books behind that 3rd book for sure.
Yeah. But it does say to the reader that the trilogy ends strongly, right? Because there are a couple book series that do not end very well in Star Wars,
right?
I
was going to ask that question. If the last book of a series is not great, then are the first couple books like worth mentioning that they're really good that you should put in as a Book of the Year nominee? I mean, have we had something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had movies like that, you could say.
We definitely had movies like that.
I think that does. I think it absolutely does. And, so B Nasty in the chat here mentions, it must have been so hard not to put Ronin in the top 4. And Ronin was one that my honorable mention. That was in my top 4. But again, we all voted. And that's an interesting thing because with these 2 giant kind of defining trilogies ending, some books had their moment but didn't quite have the weight and stuff. And the fact that both the Alphabet Squadron trilogy and the Ascendancy trilogy ended so strong, we had to recognize them. I mean, it's because, again, like you said, Wes, that is really hard to do.
I think that's a fair assessment of how we can, because Victory's Price did blow me away. I wasn't as excited about
I needed therapy after Victory's Price.
I mean, it was deep.
It was so heavy.
All the characters had all their different arcs, and you were just like trying to weigh the severity of who's going through the worst of it right now. And they allowed that through that entire trilogy. It was great.
Yeah. And then you get on the other end of the spectrum again, Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm with now that we're outside of it, we can admit if those 2 books had sucked, the initiative is sunk.
Yeah.
3 years of work are gone, and we gave them near 10s, both of them.
Yeah. You put your best batters up in the lineup. That's what they did.
Yeah.
You do. I think the interesting thing about these books is like Victory's Price kind of presented itself like a series of unfortunate events. It was kind of like, listen, this is going to be bad. Like, what you're getting into, like proceed with caution. And then the High Republic books are like, like Jedi and like the best of the best. And, oh, by the way, we're going to crush you. Like it's, you almost don't expect it in the same way that you do from Victory's Price, but it still sneaks up on you.
And we haven't really talked about this very much, but I do really enjoy that, like, the High Republic in and of itself has all been presented as somewhat of a tragedy, right? Like you remember learning about that in high school. Eric, you're a theater
Right.
person, so this is like second nature to you, I'm sure. But I remember learning about this in high school with like Shakespeare plays. Like at the beginning of Romeo and Juliet, it tells you all the horrible shit that's about to happen, right? And that's how the High Republic has been. Like ever since our first like review of Starlight Beacon, we're like, yeah, just so we're clear, that thing is like absolutely a goner, right?
Yeah. And then with the out of print cover, they're like, yes, no, it actually is. And it's like,
it's like here it is exploding on a cover before the book's out. I hope you enjoy.
The highest highs, the lowest lows.
Yeah.
You know? It's really beautiful.
I don't know that it could have been possible for High Republic books not to make it in this lineup either for this year. We had so many unbelievable like projects around the High Republic in general. Which again, this has only been around for a year. Holy crap. Like, how is that possible?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not even a third of the way through.
On top of the novels, they had the junior novels, they had the young adult novels, all the comics, they had young readers. I mean, like you said, it's like one of the biggest initiatives that they have launched.
It's
and they
nuts.
did it all through books, like all through literary. It's great.
crazy.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing like TV shows. And then the High Republic show that's on StarWars.com really helps boost that traffic to pick up those books, to actually read them.
And I mean, and all this happened, and Queen's Hope got delayed, y'all. Like, we were supposed to have
Thank
another
God.
book.
Thank God. Can we just say- Thank God. You know, also, B. Nessie brought up in the chat, it's wild that we got two Thrawn books out of the same trilogy in one year. That also happened this year, guys. Like, holy smokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it was quite a year, and narrowing it down, I think, was hard. But all these nominees in all these categories just really show, if nothing else, you think of how many things didn't make it in. Is like it's just such a moment of like, wow, that's how good the year was. And I know we say it every year, but once it stops being true, we'll stop saying it. It really feels like the best time for Star Wars publishing there's ever been. So happy for it. And one little tease, there is another award that may get announced on the night of the Youtinees, but you have to tune in. It's a super special award that we did not have last year that we're very happy about. That's all we'll say, because, you know, we got to tease you. It's 2021, cliffhangers, mid-scene credits, end credit reveals, Marvel, you know. So tune in for that. And one last thing. To our Patreon friends, our Patreon supporters, our friends, you're our friends. You give us money for things, you're our friends. So everyone can vote on the Youtini nominations. After this show goes live, they should be open at youtini.com/awards. The polls will be open until Christmas Eve, I believe. So the night of Christmas Eve, we hope you're with your loved ones and not voting on the Youtini Awards. But if you are, you have till Christmas Eve to vote, so it's a couple weeks. And if you're on Patreon, be sure to check Patreon itself, the platform, for a special link that you will get. Your voting will be slightly different this year. That's all we'll say for now. If you want to, again, know more, this is our fishing line. If you want to know more, you can join our Patreon at the end of the year, and you can figure out how that's going to happen. But so patrons, keep an eye out for messages from Timothy about the Youtinees. Everyone else, youtini.com/awards. Voting will be open. We want you to be part of this. And oh my goodness, we can't wait for 3 weeks from tonight, December 27th. We will be dressed to the nines. We will have overlays. There will be music. There will be champagne. And most importantly, there will just be a celebration of the year we had. So much happened this year in the world. So much happened. All of our lives changed so intensely, but Star Wars books and comics really just came to play. So, guys, before we get out of here, any last thoughts on the nominees? Anything that didn't get nominated that we haven't talked about yet that you really want to make sure just gets your little mention? Or are we saying goodbye until next week's Thrawn Ascendancy, Lesser Evil, Youtini nominated Book of the Year Roundtable?
You know, I will say that, you know, you hear every single award show or whatever. You watch the Oscars and they're always like, yeah, it was so hard to pick. Like, you know, everybody always makes those comments. Yeah. I will say that personally, going through like all of the stuff that Andrew put together for us to like actually choose our votes, it took me a long time. Like, I could not just sit down and do it. Like when we got to like the quote of the year and stuff, like I found myself clicking around a great deal of like, I want this thing to get the points, but then I would change my mind and get this thing the points. It took me a long time to really figure it out because, I mean, we really did have. I mean, did we have anything that was like a lower score than like a 8.5 on the entire team this entire year? I don't think we did.
No, because we had complaints about that, and whenever and someone complained
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Oh,
right.
everything's so high," I'm like, "Well, when it sucks, it'll suck."
Yeah,
But like this year was just really good.
It's been so unbelievably good this year. Like the High Republic has been such a breath of fresh air for the publishing world of Star Wars, and like we have really good creators that I hope get a break after this crazy year we've had. Like quite frankly.
Yeah. I'll say I want to give a shout out to Ronin because it got some nominations. But it was almost so unique that like it couldn't win the award. I don't know. That's kind of how it felt. Like it's one of those like, I guess I can't say this anymore because recent years have changed this, but it can't win like best film if it wasn't made in Hollywood, right? So
right. Yeah.
It was almost like
kind of thing,
so unique that, it wasn't nominated for some things, but like it was very deserving. It was incredible. So I just want to throw those 2 cents in there. And I also want to say, y'all, there are 21 days until the Youtinees. You have 21 days to read anything that you have not read.
Yeah.
And if you can't read it or you can't listen to it, I would encourage you maybe just go listen to our roundtables, and then it'll give you a little bit more context for the awards themselves if you're not planning on going back and reading these for yourselves. But that's all I'll say about that.
That's a great point, because we do earnestly want to give the most deserving books the awards, and if you haven't read stuff, that's fine. Things get tough, but if you got a weekend coming up, you got something, throw on some of our shows, make an informed opinion, talk to your friends. If you know someone that's read something, jump into the Youtini Discord channels, be like, hey, I see this stuff for a Youtini. Why was this so good? Like, encourage the conversation. We would love that. We'd love to see that. I think that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Also, Ronin is absolutely mine.
Ronin was such a unique book, but it was like, it's such an academic read. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know that the community would get it if we said this is book of the year. It was so unbelievably good, but at the same time, it's hard. This is very hard to pick. There's so many factors that go into play.
Yeah. And when you got the High Republic, Thrawn trilogy ending, and the Alpha Squadron trilogy, which was basically the X-Wing books reborn ending all in the same calendar year. I mean, my goodness.
Sure.
All right.
Well, on top of that, I'm sure we'll go through. We're definitely going to go through the nominees one more time before we leave, and then we'll also, when we pick the winners on December
27th. Yes, sir.
We'll also give some of the runners up or some of the ones that we chose as I don't know, our favorites but didn't actually win. So we'll give some of the examples there that didn't actually get picked or nominated to throw a little extra flair in there. That
honorable mentions, like host picks.
Host picks, I like that.
It'll be better than host picks. Sucks. It'll be something cooler than that.
I like
we got three. All right, thanks, Russ. If you like host picks, comment host picks on this video.
All right, let me run back through the nominees.
Yes, please do. Please do. Let's show them all everything we got.
So we have 2021 Comic of the Year. Either War of the Bounty Hunters, The High Republic, Star Wars The High Republic comics, The High Republic Adventures, and then Star Wars Darth Vader. Next is Best EU Character. We'll start with Bel Zettifar, Stellan Gios, Elzar Mann, or Erika Quell. 2021 Cover of the Year. Nominees are Star Wars Victory's Price, Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, Star Wars Ronin by Emma Mieko Cannon, and then The Rising Storm by
Kevin Scott.
I just skipped on it. 2021 Moment of the Year. Star Wars Victory's Price. That moment is Erika Quell having a breakthrough with an imagined version of ITO. Light of the Jedi by by Charles Soule. Avar Kriss announcing the Jedi arrival at Hetzel Prime, which Eric reminded us is in the very beginning of the book.
Page 30.
And then The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Elzar Mann throwing a lightsaber from the back of the dragon. I don't say that slowly on purpose either. Next, 2021 Quote of the Year nominee from The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Elzar Mann was riding a dragon into the middle of a dogfight because who else would it be? Another Quote of the Year, Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good. The odds are never impossible, Thrawn said calmly, merely unfavorable. Star Wars Victory's Price by Alexander Freed. Only rebellions are built on hope. Republics need sturdier foundations by Harrison Dula. And Social Butterfly for 2021, Ario Anindito. He is the illustrator and the artist for, which comics are they, Eric?
The High Republic.
All the High Republic comics, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Emma Mieko Candon for Ronin, which was her first Star Wars book. Daniel Jose Older, if you want to go back and check the interview we did with him a couple months back, it's a really good one.
Oh, yes.
And then Charles Soule for the last nominee of 2021 Social Butterfly. And the last and final, not final, but maybe, is 2021 Book of the Year, Star Wars Victory's Price by Alexander Freed, Star Wars The High Republic, Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil by Timothy Zahn, and Star Wars The High Republic, The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Those are all of your nominees for the 2021 Youtinees.
Wow.
That's a lot,
What?
guys. I mean, that's a lot that
That's a
the
lot.
whole team put together. Applaud
Yeah.
the team. Applaud the team at Youtini.
Applaud the team. Well done, everyone. And of course, if you're listening to this, youtini.com/awards. That's where you can go vote. That's where the article is. You scroll down, you see the nominees again, and there's a link to the Google form where you can vote. We will also have links on the Youtini Twitter account, the Living Force Twitter account. We'll be tagging authors. We'll be tagging creators. It'll be a whole good time. And we just can't wait to see you in a few weeks for the 2021 Youtinees. But next week, of course, is the Thrawn Lesser Evil Part 1 roundtable. We got 2 parts on this one. Charles, how you feeling?
I'm stressed. I'm real stressed, Eric. How are you?
Everything's fine here, right? All right, well, we will see you next week for that, my friends. You only got 500 pages to go if you're listening. The next 2 weeks, of course, Thrawn, Ascendancy, Lesser Evil. Get your pre-orders in for all your books. Read your Thrawn. Cash your votes for the Youtinees. And still keep 11 Star Wars the whole way through. Because, my friends, that'll do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. You support us on Patreon. Thank you so much for that assistance. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled for your own Youtinees announcement. A special thank you, of course, to Cheryl Bell, OK Endar, Jeremy Kazina, JG Karst, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Matt Billington, Tyler Latour, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter at Living Force Pod, at Youtini_US, and individually at Eric Eilerson, at Doc Star Wars MD, at C. Henkel, and at Boss Wes. A special thank you to our returning editor, Matt Davenport, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, whose work you can see at the Youtinees as well, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podcasting with me. Thanks to all of you for watching and voting in the upcoming Youtinees. And as always, may the Force be with you.